crisis. Hello everyone, hello Just Be community, friends and family. Hello for everyone and whomever is joining the live right now and whomever is going to join us and listen to our talk later. We're very excited again to be here today, and excuse us for the attention because it happened that we have 3 screens showcasing the live today, so we'll be focusing on different platforms and screens, so be patient with us. We're very excited with a very strong topic that our guest speaker came up with. I'm very honored to receive Sharad, that's how we call you.
JR,
but JR is his name for the work he does, and it happened that we met some time ago and he told me about what he does, and I got very keen to get to know more about your practice and showcase it among our community with a very specific topic that we chose today. Are your thoughts yours? Are your goals yours? So thank you, we're honored to have you,
I'm very
Sharad.
happy to be here.
And thank you for trusting the platform, and we'd like to know more about you. Who is Sharad as a person before anything else?
So I changed my name to JR when I started doing theater clearing. So part of the things I've realized that...
Just be mindful about the screen so that we can be fitting, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was in a world of pain. I was married, and I was trying to understand how someone can be so abusive to you even though you love them. So I ended up seeking help, seeking therapy, and I wandered around the world. I went to India, I went to, even in Dubai, I went to a lot of healing centers to find a solution, to my pain. And then one thing led to the other. I learned hypnotherapy, I learned regression therapy, I learned how past life can affect you, I learned how other people's energy can affect you. And then it led me to studying Dianetics, which is the study of the mind in its entirety. And then what I do now with theater clearing is I take complete responsibility for my thoughts, and that everything that happens to me is a product of my thought and my energy. So I'm moving to a point where I'm fully responsible for what I do. And theater clearing technique is about taking full responsibility over your thoughts and over your future. So as soon as you get more responsible about your own inner being, your own thinkingness, and your own havingness of the physical universe, you start to calm down naturally, and then you come to even remove pain from your system as a result of that. Because the moment you anchor yourself in the future, a future thought, that paves the way for clearing the current level of pain you're in. So we hear a lot of people about staying in the present moment and just being present and not thinking about the future or the past. But the point is, at any given point, you're carrying your past with you, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
So when people say stay in the present moment, one of my heroes was Eckhart Tolle. He's still one of my heroes, but he always talked about staying in the present moment. But today he's selling a seminar about the future. So you can go on eckharttolle.com, and he has a seminar 30 days from now. You can sign up for the seminar today. So he's actually selling you the future, and you're getting excited about moving to the future, and that's a really good thought. Now that future thought is actually a cure for your present day problem. So sanity lies in the future, not in the present. Because once you borrow the energy of the future, you now draw it in, and you have the energy to clean your present scenario, which could be you go to healing or you go to someone to ask for help for. So I've come to that point today where I believe that the future thought holds the key to your sanity today. This is my current belief system.
You have made a point when I heard your presentation about the work you do, about how important it is to create a vision in your life, that future that you're mentioning, that aesthetics, but then how is this helpful directly in creating your now? I'd like to know more about that. How does it work?
So the way now works is now you're in a space, right? Thoughts, through a process of condensation, becomes emotion. Through a process of further condensation of emotion, it becomes action. And a further condensation of actions actually reorganizes matter and space. Now you have matter, right? So the thinking, so most of us start thinking when we are stuck in a space. You've got four walls around you, and you suddenly realize that this is not my space, right? So now you start thinking. So you have a current day scenario where you don't like your space and the objects you're surrounded by. So now you have a new game called thinking, right? And usually what happens with thinking is that you believe that by eating more food, you have the energy to move forward. So usually when people get stuck, they start eating more food, they get into addictive habits, thinking that would fuel them out of the current scenario, but that's not the case. You want to know why you're stuck, and you have to slowly backtrack to your thoughts. And then you realize, step by step, as you try to get unstuck, that most of the thoughts are not yours. We have thought intrusions all our life, through our teachers, through our parenting, through our friends. Even when you're unconscious, let's say you go into surgery, let's say you go for a dental surgery, right? And you've been rendered unconscious to some extent. Not fully, but partially unconscious. And there's a conversation going on between the dentist and the nurse. But you're unconscious, so now your mind registers all those thoughts as absolute. Because you cannot analyze the thought anymore. It's coming into your mind as an absolute thought. So if the dentist says something like, I only love eating chocolate cake, right? That thought now registers in your mind as a permanent thought without analysis. So you come out of that anesthesia, you go up living your life, and you just start liking chocolate cake for no reason. So this is how, as simple as that thought intrusion can take place. It requires unconsciousness for thought intrusion to take place. It requires pain for thought intrusion to take place. And unless you have pain, you would never listen to anybody. Or you take anybody's instruction. You always follow your own thoughts. So the only way someone can make you do stuff is by threatening you either with emotional pain or physical pain. If someone can threaten your physical survival or emotional survival, with more is more emotional survival. That's why it's easier to blackmail men. With women, it's more physical survival. So most men get away with their stuff by threatening women physically, and women get back by threatening them emotionally. So it's like a crazy war that takes place, and that's what happened with me. I got in a space with someone, and I was constantly being threatened emotionally. If you don't do this, I won't do that. I just didn't know how to handle it, you know. So, but now I'm better at it, obviously. But your thoughts will never lead you astray. Will never lead you astray if you follow your own heart and your own thoughts. And
so, tell us more about the practice of it, because it could be so intense. I mean, how many thoughts do we process per day, per week, per month, and how many of a lifetime? And beside that, how many of them are, as you were mentioning, yours and those who came, as an intrusion? So how can we clear these the minds with your practice?
So if you are not moving forward in life, if you're not getting what you want, you have a vision that you want to be a doctor, you want to be a dancer, you want to be the best therapist. You have a vision. Now that vision could be an image. It's a final product image. It's a very strong image of you sitting in a space where you're practicing your art, but it's an image in your mind, all right? Now, that image has so much energy that it can wake you up and get you going on a daily basis. So you wake up with that image in the back of your mind. That is live energy. You break it down to thoughts now. I need to wake up, I need to get dressed, I need to go start calling these people. Immediately you slow it down. Because now you have vision, but how do you get your vision into an actual physical reality? Usually what happens is this vision hits an area of your mind called a ridge. Okay? A ridge is a very powerful place because it's a place where there's a lot of pain in it. So let's say you woke up one day in the morning and you tripped and you broke an ankle. Now, unless you actually treat the emotional charge in that incident, and if the people around you then telling you, it's okay to be hurt, People get hurt all the time. Don't cry. So now that live energy has stuck content in it. So you had a vision of getting up, doing your work, you get injured, and that injury now has stuck content of you being stuck, basically. It has words, it has actual physical memory, and so you just can't move from there on, right? So unless you process ridge by ridge by ridge by ridge by ridge, you don't get clearer, you don't get lighter, you don't get to practice your own thoughts and vision. So it all eventually comes down to physical and emotional survival. Okay? No one can really get into your space unless it can emotionally blackmail you or physically blackmail you. If someone can threaten you with pain, then you have thought intrusion. It happens in relationships a lot. It happens in relationships in such a way, for example, you got a couple, one wants money, and one wants emotional support. Usually they start creating these things, blow per blow per blow, to keep the relationship in sync. But that's, again, using pain to control the other person. As soon as you can cause someone physical, emotional pain, then you can input your thought in that, and you can make them behave in a certain way. So that's how actual intrusion takes place on a very simple level.
And what is this art that I'm very curious about when you said the art of
Goal setting.
Goal setting.
So the art of goal setting is quite simple. You're living on a planet which is alive, right? You're living on a planet which has a mind of its own. And then this planet is letting everyone be themselves, right? You can be yourself, I can be myself. But it is my personal ambition to have things my way. It is your personal ambition to have things your way, right? So we have a problem of called randomity. Now, how do I get my way with you, and how do you get your way with me? Well, the earth itself is letting us be each other, right? So you have to go back to wavelength of thought turning to matter. If you and I are stuck at the level of matter, we're not going to get very far in life. If you and I are talking in terms of emotion, we're not going to get very far in life together. But if you and I are talking in terms of vision, where we see each other working in the future in a certain place, that has a lot of energy in it. So when you start communicating in terms of vision, then you actually have a future with someone. If you're stuck at a level of thought or emotion, you're not getting to sloppy thinking. That's when actually what happens on this planet, especially people don't realize that you're in a spiritual body. So even though you're theta, you're in a spirit body which belongs to this planet. So if you get off track, so let's say you get into sloppy thinking that you think you can control people, there's an automatic check within the system. It's called the spirit. And the spirit gets a hold of you, starts to make you do stuff you don't want to do. And then you have to run back to the wavelength of aesthetics to start moving forward in life. So all your thoughts don't work, all your crazy thoughts don't work, how you try to control people doesn't work, no one's responding to you because you're getting sloppy. So there's a system of checks and balances which is present on this planet that keeps you rooted, and which also kind of pushes you back in the wavelength of aesthetics. Now, it's a painful process, usually. When things don't work out for you, you have to go looking for help. And when you go look for help, for the most part, you have to blow the ridges away. The way you do that is that ridge has a conclusion built into it. So the moment you get hurt by your mother, let's say, she hits you on your head, and you conclude that all women who have blonde hair are crazy, right? That's the conclusion you make, and that becomes your regulator of life. So you start regulating life in such a way, now it becomes a universe. And you can make much worse conclusions about money, about marriage, about life on this planet. You can make much more dangerous conclusions about how your life is being regulated. So in this art of goal setting, we break those regulators one by one, which are currently regulating your life. At the same time, we anchor you into the future, which is your own future you built, which acts now as a source of energy.
How do you create the future? I mean, many of us are, unless you have worked on yourself and get to know yourself better, in order to really draw what you want in life. how do you get the people through your work to get them to find their own purpose?
Okay. So, one thing you have to realize that you are a thought-making machine, is what you are. You've been sent into this physical universe to create a reality for yourself. So that's a divine privilege. No one can take that away from you. So that in itself should be relief. That is your divine privilege to convert thoughts into matter. That's the only reason you're here. Okay? So those visions are always coming to you anyway. But the problem is those visions now get entangled in ridges. The ridges are painful conclusions you've made about life, which are not your conclusions. So before you can go back to a vision, you have to kind of break those ridges. So that you can then exteriorize. See, most of us interiorize. What that means is everyone's going to push us around, and we start thinking we are the physical universe. But we're not. So people push it around, put us in a box, make us do stuff, and we think we're the physical universe. That somehow we cannot control our own reality. So when we have so much pain in our system, people can push us, we interiorize, so we stop thinking about the future.
Hence where the statement of pushing on my buttons.
Yeah, right? Pushing my button. The moment I got threatened by someone last week, I was on a high, I got threatened last week with someone with a court order or something. I immediately called my lawyer and I exteriorized. I called their lawyers and put them in the future. I said, if you want to go to court, we'll go. But you've got to be on a level playing field. So the moment someone threatens you, they're making you interiorize. They don't want you to move forward in life. It's the only objective. They're jealous or they want you to stay in the place.
It's fear-based, yeah.
So the moment anyone threatens you, you're interiorizing. Your best option at that point is to exteriorize a step further in their physical universe.
Which is like seeing the solution.
Yeah.
Like what's going to get me out of this?
The solutions
which is coming from
the solutions come after the image.
Yeah.
So you have image of the future, now the thoughts come, which are the solution. Mm-hmm. Right? So most of us interiorize. So what happens, the beauty of this goal-setting workshop is that as you break away the ridges within your body, by the way, there is an infinity equation we work with, so we find out where exactly you are in the state of infinity. As you break away those ridges in your body, you can exteriorize into the future, which is you can imagine the future and build your steps to it, and you also exteriorize upwards. That means, people talk a lot about astral planes, people talk about spirituality, so you can exteriorize both ways. Vertically, which is you into the astral plane, and horizontally, which is a physical reality. So the less pain you have in the system, the better future you can make for yourself. Most of us are locked in pain, so we project or exteriorize a more painful future. So the key is the ridges. And everybody who's going to come to this workshop will exteriorize. And it'll be my job to make sure that they don't feel that they're part of the human body all the time, that they can exteriorize. It's okay to imagine the future. It's safe. Most of us don't feel safe. We have this coronavirus going around in the news, and you basically going more interior with this kind of information. You can exteriorize. Everyone's worried about the future, but that seems to be the solution for this. You know.
How do you explain? You've given the example of Mother Nature. It's a very good role model for all of us as existing in this physical plane. And everything is created with its diversity, but yet without having to, overlap or being of any threat. I mean, although the animal family has those orders, but how do you explain why having this birthright of living as a soul in this body with, a life plan, with a purpose, can actually jeopardize or overlap or be of a threat of another being?
The bigger the game, the easier it is to accomplish. Alright? So in the article setting, in this workshop, I make sure that people play the biggest game possible there is. Alright? What that means is that when you play a game which is so big, that means you take into account all the humans, all the spirits, all the plants, all the animals. If you take into account this spiritual aspect, what that really means by spiritual aspect, that if in your plan, everything gets better. That means the lives of others who come in your life get better. The nature itself starts to improve. There's something in your plan that's going to benefit every part of society. Then you'll find that this planet becomes of great assistance to you.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to activate other beings to help you in your goal. So that's when I tell you this planet has a mind of its own. The moment it realizes that you have a game which is going to benefit everything on this planet, other people, animals, physical universe, it will start to energize everybody and push them in your way.
There is a certain order of like a harmony happening for all this existence to coexist in this ecosystem.
Yes.
What's stopping the human being to be in that state of flow?
So
in that ecosystem? It's a big question.
I personally believe that we're only on this planet to learn one lesson, which is to love. All right. So it comes back to how when I was in this relationship, which is abusive, I was not able to love. So when I went looking for help, I thought that by loving less was the answer, right? But what happens is when you blow those bridges away, as you unblock yourself, your capacity to love increases.
Because the true nature of human beings is to love on earth, to experience love.
Because a part of you which is human is not, you're not human anyway. I mean, we are borrowing this body, we're even borrowing the human spirit. So the moment more energy flows through you, which is new thoughts, right, new vision, your capacity to love goes exponentially. Because it activates the human spirit too, along its way. Your body has more energy, the human spirit has more energy, your mind has more energy, your analytical power goes up. So as you increase ridges, the capacity to flow with love goes up exponentially. And that's what we're all avoiding in our lives. And I hope that everybody finds more love eventually, even though they're setting up their goals in this workshop. That is my truest desire from this workshop. Then in the end, people have a better capacity to love each other and heal the planet along the way. That is probably my hidden agenda in this.
So tell us a little bit more about the flow of the workshop, the sets. I mean, let's say, when is the workshop coming up?
It's on the 25th and 26th
of September. So the last weekend of September. It's over 2 days.
Yeah.
It's 2 full days, and you can have the details. It's all over our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. And let's hear a little bit more about it.
So we start the workshop with this infinity equation. So everything in the physical universe, you, I, matter, everything will go through this. That means we will go through a period where we have nothing, but we have a lot of things. We're going to lose everything and we'll know everything. That's called wisdom. So we're all going to go through this. The workshop actually starts with finding where you are on this equation. All right? Then from there, we can also find out where the blocks are within yourself, within the body itself. Those blocks are in the form of traumas, they're in the form of memories, painful memories, called facsimiles, a copy. So every time you have a painful memory, the mind makes a copy of it. And it's stored somewhere, so we just take those out. As you take those things out, now you're better able to exteriorize.
How do you do that in the process?
It's called theta clearing.
Okay.
So it's very
you mentioned theta.
So theta clearing.
But let's
So theta clearing is something very new to the region. Yeah, theta clearing does not exist in this region yet. It's very new because it's very non-invasive. Mm-hmm. You see, in most therapies, what happens is you get a client and you have a therapist. You have a client and a therapist. Now, the therapist has unclean time. All right, the time is not clean. That means he's in present day, but time's not working out. So the therapist now goes and swims into the mind of the client and tries to analyze it and find a solution. In theta clearing, I call myself auditor. I'm not a therapist. I'm an auditor. All I do is make sure that you blow that bridge with your own thought, not with my thought.
So with your own self-realization.
There's no realization set. The foundation is quite simple. A new thought always invalidates an old thought. Okay? So if I think I like red apples yesterday, but today I don't have to like them. But I'm stuck in the conclusion of yesterday that I liked red apples, right? So I have a new conclusion today. I want a new thought. So the moment you go over the trauma one more time, with your full awareness, without regression, you blow the ridge away. And it's extremely powerful. You work on a timer, you get 30 seconds per round. It's almost like a sprint. You basically get a taste of live energy. It's very addictive. It's very addictive blowing ridges. Once you get a taste of it, I remember I did my first demo. At first they found it very odd, but then they really hooked onto it because it really blows away the energy stuck in time.
It's like a reset system.
It's like a reset, and it's quite powerful.
Because when you think about the amount of, data that we have, if I may say, of a programming that is there, playing out and creating a reality, no matter how eager and willing to change, there's so much data that you're not aware of and you don't know how to access, and yet you're just a victim of that outcome that is always there, playing out patterns that dictate your life.
So in every trauma, every painful experience, there's something called MEST. There's matter, energy, space, and time.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you've done. You in this physical universe, you're playing with matter, and you create a space, and there's energy, and there's time, there's duration. Time basically means is the interaction of particles, and you can plot that. But we can say time is 2 days, or 3 days, or 4 days. So let's say a trauma lasts, I'll give you a simple example. Let's say a trauma lasts for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, that's quite painful. You're quite unconscious in that period. What that means is you did something when you were unconscious. So when you were under pain, all the activities you engaged in were not the thing that you wanted to do, but someone else made you do it, right? So if you can go over the MEST one more time, what you did while you were unconscious, all the hidden data comes out. So the data which is hidden from your plain sight then starts to come out, and you can see the incident for what it was.
It's like a decluttering kind of.
Yeah, it places the entire physical universe naked,
mm-hmm.
and it shows you what you did. And once you can see for what it is, then you're free not to do it again. It's very liberating.
So does it work on a conscious level or a subconscious level, or on both?
It works. You work consciously into subconscious levels. So there's no trance. There is no there is no trance required. So everything is done consciously,
mm-hmm.
while you're fully aware.
Cognitive.
Yeah. So there's no trance required. You can keep your eyes open. You can keep your eyes closed. It doesn't matter. But you have to recall the incident consciously,
mm-hmm.
not subconsciously. I believe the entire thing is subconscious anyway. We are subconscious. So the less clutter there is in subconscious, the better it gets. Subconscious. We want to talk about subconscious because it has trauma in it. That's it. It has pain in it. Otherwise, you won't remember. Your mind remembers everything you've done in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah? But for some reason, it creates a copycat of pain. It loves to do that. It's like it's addicted. I always say that.
Because of the overpower of the subconscious versus the conscious.
So the highest ambition of your mind is to record pain. Okay?
Yeah,
not
that's
yours.
the wiring.
No, not yours. The highest ambition of your mind is to record pain and keep it and store it for some reason.
For the sake of
for you to come back and look at it, and you blow it up.
mm-hmm.
And you move forward. So it's part of living on this planet. That's what it is. You have to get used to it and move forward with it. But the most important thing is to exteriorize. Exteriorization means building your own future, the life of your own desire. That's the most important thing. And I've noticed myself that my thoughts. I'm professional. I design and sell carpets. And my thoughts turn to think much faster as long as I'm in the wave of aesthetics, right? And I've also noticed as I break more ridges, I'm going to blow a lot more ridges, I exteriorize vertically as more. So I'm more aware when I dream. I'm more aware of the places I go when I dream. I'm even more powerful where I go. So as you go up the tone scale, as you get in a better emotional state, even the worlds you go to vertically are nicer. Alright, so you have to create a world which is basically a more beautiful world in both directions, not just in your thoughts, but also in matter. And the way you get that is by blowing bridges. It's very simple.
How fast the process is?
Each ridge takes about 7 to 10 minutes to blow. That's it. That's it.
And how many ridges can you collapse? If I may
During the workshop, I would say 10 ridges would be the minimum you want to collapse. It's a 2-day workshop. So the first day you want to do at least 4 or 5, and the second day you want another 5 because you want people to digest it a bit. And so it works at level of mind. So I would say at least 10 to set your goal. That would be prerequisite.
And you have different goal settings, like different areas in your life, or do you?
Yeah. So you blow a ridge when you were controlled. You blow a ridge when you were when your own independent thinking was taken away. Yeah. You blow a ridge when people were where you felt unsafe with people, right? Because part of goal setting is to work with people, right? So unless you feel safe with people, you won't really write a goal for yourself, would you? So your safety numbers has to be restored. Yeah. Then you also have to restore your confidence in mankind in general and the spirit world in general. So it works on all levels to restore your faith in where you are currently.
And then, as we say, there's always something, when you plan something new in the mind, then you need to work it out to embed that new belief or a new input. How does it work in your practice?
So in this goal setting workshop, what people have to do is write a goal for themselves. It could be 5 years or 10 years from now, whatever it could be, or 1 year from now. Then they have to write the steps they're going to take to get there.
So during the process of
how they're going to do it.
workshop.
If I have to start a music company, I need new singers. I'm going to go get new singers. I want this. So intuitively, you write an action step for yourself, which is actually about 70 to 80% approximately correct. It's never 100% accurate because the entire universe is built on approximation. The universe is not perfect; it's approximate. If you go to the surface of the sun, if you go to 2 sides, there's so much variation in just the temperature, by thousands of degrees, right? If you look at the surface of the Earth, some places it's thicker and thinner, the crust, nothing is perfect. So everything works through approximation. So you're going to approximate your future. Yeah, it's not going to be 100% as per you write it.
Because you're shifting constantly, so even your purpose shifts as you shift yourself.
And then because you're setting such a big goal for yourself, you need other players to come in. So as the other players come in, then you slightly change your plan, but you're always looking at the final image, right? So you have to write your action step, your plans. You also have to write what you're going to give this planet in return. That's I would say the meat of that's where people don't get what they want in life. Because if you have no interest in people, then this planet has very little interest in you. It could care less about you. So if you want a house if you have a goal to build a house for yourself in 2 years and with that design and that design, if it's not benefiting others, you're never going to have it. The only reason we don't get one in life is because we don't have an outward flow. We keep asking and asking and asking, we want this, but what are you going to do for this planet in general? So you have to have that in your plan as well. So for example, I have a certain goal for myself. I wrote this about 6 months ago. I had no idea why I did it, but I wrote it down. In return, I will hold workshops. In return, I will help this. I'm doing all that now. So
as a commitment, that's
and you'd be surprised that you have to give first to receive.
Yes, that's how Mother Nature is, right?
So
it's always in constant giving.
Yes. Your outward flow has to come before inward flow. And that's something you have to live with for a while, till you get into the practice of giving. All right? So you set your goals, how you're going to go about it, what you're going to give in return, a definite date of completion. So your mind can calculate the energy required to complete the task. You have to have a date. And with your new name for the goal. So if you go with the old name, which has a lot of baggage with it, doesn't have a clean time. So you're moving forward with a much